In July of 2023, just after that plea deal fell through, this is what you said. I want to watch.
Do you think a pardon for his son would be a mistake?
Yes, and I don't think there's any chance that President Biden is going to do that, unlike his predecessor, who pardoned all of his friends and anyone who had any access to him. And I think you see that in this case, where he kept on, and Merrick Garland kept on, a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to investigate the president's son. If there is not an indication of the independence of the Department of Justice beyond that, I don't know what we could look for.
What does that feel like, watching yourself back then, reassuring people that Biden was not going to issue a pardon for his son?
Yeah, and I think that if that plea agreement and that plea deal had gone through, there would be no pardon. That was a satisfactory outcome.
It had already fallen through.
That only was. Sorry?
When you reacted, this was when the deal had fallen through.
Nothing has changed.
Can I ask a question? Do you all think that Merrick Garland should be fired because of this corruption at the DOJ?
Again, I don't think there's corruption at the DOJ. I think the concern is the future DOJ is going to be corrupted.
You think there's corruption there? You think this was a politicized witch hunt? But the Attorney General should be held accountable, no?
These charges were trumped up because his name is Hunter Biden.
But wouldn't you, if you were the president, would you believe the Attorney General?
Let's consult our legal expert at the desk.
If you thought there was corruption,
Nothing is.
Boy, these people, these Democrats they're trapped. They're trapped. You saw from the intro, you got Congressman Goldman having to face what he said in 2023, how they like to moralize about how much better Joe Biden is compared to Donald Trump, right? And you saw from the second clip, our favorite guy, you know him, you love him, Scott Jennings, made a former congressman, I think he's Boldman, Jamal Boldman, flee from he didn't even want to have the conversation. Let's go to our legal expert here. I don't need to go to no legal expert to notice when I see hypocrisy. This is the funny part about all this, right? The virtue signaling finally came back and blow up in the Democrats' face. I remember when I made that video that the Joe Biden pardon will further damage the Democratic Party. I didn't think it'll happen so fast. Oh my God. It seemed like everyone across the political aisle is criticizing this move. And I'm going to go through this I'm going to try to get myself in 1 minute. Congressman flees from debate after Scott Jennings trapped him with a great question. Do you think that Merrick Garland should be fired because of the corruption of the DOJ? Long sigh. These charges was trumped up because his name is Hunter Biden. Trump can say the same thing. Scott Jennings, if you were the president, wouldn't you believe the Attorney General? Let's consult our legal expert here. Look at the comment section. The comment section is gold here. CNN's token Republican Scott Jennings is more popular than CNN. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with this. And if you don't agree with that statement, here's a clip kind of solidifying this opinion. Let's take a look.
NBC News reported that the president and his top aides met this summer and decided two things: that they were going to keep this option open, but they were going to publicly maintain that they would not pardon Hunter Biden through statements from Joe Biden and statements from the White House press secretary. They had a meeting. They coordinated the lie, I guess for political purposes. And now that he's leaving office, he is going back on what he told the American people. This isn't simply changing your mind. This is just fulfilling what you always intended to do. No Republican is shocked that he is doing this. What I am shocked at is the duplicity of the President of the United States and his top aides to come together and form this lie and stick to it this entire time. We all knew it was ridiculous, and now the American people are seeing what a disgrace he really is.
I think it's incredibly rich to have you say that the people got together and they were duplicitous and they created a lie.
NBC News said it.
I'm saying they created a lie because, honestly, what the other side has been saying for years, what you guys ran on for president, was multiple lies. I mean, if Eric Holder said it right, I think. He said if Hunter's name was Joe Smith, this case would probably have never even gone to trial, right? That it was always a political witch hunt. And it was always...
But wasn't, to Scott's point, I mean, wasn't it a lie? I mean, you can defend it, but wasn't it a lie that he was not going to pardon him?
No, I believe the circumstances have changed. I think that we now have a president coming into office who's talking about firing squads, who's talking about running people around the country and making sure that everyone who's his enemy is going to be punished. And Hunter Biden lied about his drug use on a government forum when he was buying a gun. And he failed to file and pay taxes when he was a drug addict. He paid back those taxes with interest. Donald Trump himself was indicted for 17 counts of criminal tax fraud, more than Hunter, and he's going to be the president of the United
11
States.
years.
So
you're missing a few things here. 11 years, full and unconditional.
I'm saying everyone's criticizing this, right? Here's Nate Silver. Now, I think Nate Silver is a pollster, right? He said he voted Democrat despite feeling that the Democrats indulged in bad behavior that voters were rational to publish, right? I just get to hear how I voted for Harris despite feeling like Democrats indulged in a lot of bad behavior that voters were rational to publish. After the White House lying about the Hunter Biden pardon, I'm not sure how much more I can tolerate. This is a Democrat voter. This is a guy who voted for Kamala Harris despite feeling like the Democrats didn't really deserve his vote. Right? Politic girl, whoever, however she wants to name herself, right? You can't excuse this. You can't. It's impossible. Even Charlemagne from Breakfast Club cannot defend this.
He was singled out because he broke the law. That's number one. He was singled out because he had an illegal gun and tax evasion charges, not because he was the president's son. And I honestly don't care. I just want Democrats to stop acting like they are on this moral high ground politically when they have shown us they're not, whether it's skipping the primary process when Biden stepped down and things like Biden pardoning his son. Stop acting like y'all the pure party and Republicans aren't. And it also shows me elected officials can do whatever they want as long as they have the political will and courage to do it.
Absolutely. You got a problem with even Charlemagne. Charlemagne can't defend this. And Charlemagne defends everything Democrats do. But Democrats have a fool me twice problem, and yes, they do. And here's another thing Nate Silver says. Don't vote for any Democrat in 2028 that doesn't repudiate the pardon within 48 hours. Nate Silver is saying this. If you don't repudiate the pardon within 2 days of it happening, Nate Silver says, a Democratic voter says that they shouldn't vote for you. This is crazy. And the reason why I'm covering this, right, is to show you and highlight the problem. Like, people who defend this, right, you saw the lady calling herself political girl. She says she's a content creator, right? You see how she's defending this. Did he lie? This is the question. Did he lie about pardoning his son? She says no. What? What kind of crazy rationalization justify you saying one thing, then using the thing you said, right? This act. I put the law before my family, right? This is Joe Biden. This is the moral high ground Joe Biden was using to make political attacks at Donald Trump. Once you lose the election, all that morality go out the window. So you was only acting morally superior. And this is what's pissing off a lot of people. Biden had won the election. Do you think the pardon would be going? No. Biden's only doing this because he lost the election. And this idea that, Hunter Biden is only getting charged because his name is Hunter Biden. Bro, I heard that talking point somewhere. Republicans were using that for Trump. If Donald Trump's name wasn't Donald Trump, you think he would got raided at Mar-a-Lago? If Donald Trump's name wasn't Donald Trump, you think they would be rewriting laws in New York to prosecute him for something that happened almost 2 decades ago, apparently in New York? Make it make sense. If Donald Trump's name wasn't Donald Trump, you think all the legal lawfare that he was getting throughout the 2023, 2024 election runs, you think that it would happen? And this is the hypocrisy of the Democrats being exposed in real time. In real time. Everybody's going on them. This pardon, I'm telling you, when I saw Joe Biden did this, the first thought I had, damn, Democrats are in a tough spot. That's the first thought I had. But let's hear Stephen A. Smith, who's also a Harris supporter, or also a person who voted for Democrats and is now criticizing the pardon. Let's take a look.
What's your take on the pardon? The Biden situation disgusted me in terms of the pardon only from this standpoint, Chris. Nobody on the planet, you want to be a cynic and you want to act like you would be offended by something like that if you're one of those people out there, fine. But no one within reason would have a problem with him saying, it's my son. I love him. There's no way I'm sending him to jail. and I have the power to avoid it. Nobody would blame him for that. But that's not where he went. So I didn't have a problem to answer your question directly with the decision that he made to pardon his son. Boo Boo the Fool knew he was going to do that. I don't care who he stood in front of or sat in front of and said that he wasn't going to pardon his son and he was just going to go by the letter of the law. Please, everybody and their grandmother knew he was going to pardon his son. But to come out and to start talking about how it's been a witch hunt and the Department of Justice and others were after him or whoever it was, and, the GOP rather was after him. Well, wait a minute. What have y'all been doing with Donald Trump all of these years? Now, you can make an argument.
This is hey, I'm with Stephen A so far, right? This is what's hurting the whole pardon stuff. If you guys wasn't doing, this is what I'm talking about. How Donald, the Democrats, you saw from the commentary, you saw when Scott Jennings was going ham on this point, that the Democrats' main defense was, what, but Donald Trump. Oh, because Donald Trump's a convicted felon and he became president. Why can't Hunter Biden do this? No. Why can't Joe Biden do this for Hunter? I don't care about none of that. Don't use another guy to justify your own actions. You were the one who said they will put family over law. Your law over family. Sorry, I messed it up because the reality is his words said that he was going to put the law before his family, but his action says, no, I put family above everything. No one's above the law. No, my family's above the law. This is what Joe Biden has said. This has Joe Biden through his actions. This is what he has confirmed for many people. Republicans, Chris Wallace asked, we'll see after the election if he's going to keep that pardon promise. But liberal panelists, but he said it. He's not a liar like Trump. 1 year later, after the election, boom, you did exactly what the Republicans saw coming. But Democrats, to make a point, to pretend that they're morally superior than Republicans, they're virtue signaling off of this point. Oh, look how he's a man of character. He's a man of character. And then people was like, yo, look at this two-tier justice system. Look at the politicized attack. Everyone and their mama knew in America that the Trump lawfare was politically motivated. No Democrat could deny that. But they still try to deny that. This is why they needed this moral high ground, this moral superiority that they try to project, because they knew that without that without projecting morality, people was going to condemn them as, oh, no, this is politically motivated. And the pardon validated that point from everyone in America. This is why I love about this story is that these Democrats have to sit here and eat crow. They have to admit and be humble and admit that, yeah, you know better than the Republicans you claim to be so morally irreprehensible. Okay, liars. Let's continue.
Argument about the legitimacy of the cases against Donald Trump compared to what wasn't legitimate, etc. That's not the point. The point is it was clearly politicized. You had folks on the left who were hell-bent on going after Donald Trump because they were determined to make sure that he couldn't run for re-election or that these elements would get in the way of him possibly winning re-election.
Exactly.
And now we know why more than ever, because they weren't confident they would ever be able to beat him. Yeah. He'd been a Republican nominee since 2016. Ooh. He beat Hillary Clinton with the Electoral College vote. He wouldn't concede defeat in 2020, but he did receive over 74 million votes at that particular moment in time. And then you fast forward 4 years later, despite the 34 felony convictions, the 2 impeachments, the bevy of crimes that he had been accused of, the Republican voters out there, the conservative voters out there, and a lot of independents from various communities said, he's the guy we want, and I've said it on many, many occasions. It wasn't about him. Just like it wasn't about Biden in 2020, it was more against Trump. In this particular instance, it was an indictment against the Biden administration, what had been going on for the last 4 years, some of the things going on with the border, obviously inflation, of course, crime in the streets, of course, woke and cancel culture and all of that, it all played a role. And so for him to come out and to talk about that this was a witch hunt when clearly it could be argued that's exactly what you were doing to Donald Trump, or you assisted in doing, seems beyond hypocritical. And that was what disgusted me. It wasn't his decision. It wasn't him pardoning his son. It was the weak, pathetic explanation that he gave, which has most critics just shaking their heads and raising their eyebrows and saying, what nerve you have.
Yeah, the nerve of you. Woo! The nerve of Democrats, the nerve of these shills trying to sit here and defend this. The pardon backlash is sweet to see, right? Because these people, like, think about it. These people, they do all these unprecedented things, and they think that they should just be allowed to do whatever they want. And it's baffling to me. It's crazy to me. Here's Michael talking about this, because I need you to understand that this pardon, it's not a good look. This is going to damage the party in 2028, because any kind of rhetoric the Democrats try to levy against the Republicans in 2028, all we got to do is go back to the pardon, the buy the laptop story. All we got to do is go back to inflation is transitory. This is all Democrat talking points. We all got to go back to the fact that you're saying, oh, hey, you said that Biden said he wasn't going to pardon. He did pardon. Oh, well, that's obviously a lie. Donald Trump is threat to democracy. Donald Trump is Orange Hitler. But when he won, oh, we want a peaceful transition of power. If you really believe the things that you believe, will you not be so, I say, graceful in your defeat? So any kind of negative messaging that Democrats try to do in 2028 is going to fall on deaf ears, especially when the incoming Republican administration has won the popular vote and the electoral college, even though it's a slim popular vote. I don't care, because it took y'all what? How many weeks? 3 weeks, 4 weeks to count votes in California? Okay, so forgive me if I still remember that Donald Trump won the popular vote convincingly, right? This is a bad look for the Democratic Party. Here's Michael, another person that I believe should be featured by CNN a lot more. Let's take a look, and then I'll wrap up with my final thoughts.
Democrats portrayed the president as this great arbiter of morality and truth. They said that he somehow was a better standard bearer for protecting norms and the institutions of our country, and yet that wasn't true. They lied. You can go all the way back to 2022 when they were asked this question. And the White House consecutively lied over and over and over again. They could have simply said, to MJ's point, to Chuck's point, the president isn't going to put his thumb on the scales of justice. He's going to wait. He hasn't made a decision yet. Most people would have expected that. They would have respected that. I think most people, to your point, Chuck, believe if it was my child, I probably would have done the same thing. That's not the issue, Jake. The question here, the burden on the White House, I would argue, is the continuous lies. You said that you were better than this other guy. You criticized the other guy for all of these things, and now your DOJ is committing witch hunts, and this is now politicized. Well, you appointed Merrick Garland. You can't blame Republicans for that. And I can only imagine, as I've talked to a lot of Republicans, if this were Donald Trump, and I know people are going to give him a lot of criticism for the pardons he's already given, but if this were him and Don Jr. or Eric Trump or Ivanka, I can only imagine what the headlines would have been. And I will say, if you're Democrats and you're trying to walk this straight line that we're somehow better than Republicans because we care more about the future and state of this democracy, I think that's trash now. No one believes it. No one believes it. They've lost all credibility for the facade they portrayed for several years.
Ooh, yo, I'm telling you, this pardon, Democrats, this is y'all wake-up call. This is y'all wake-up call. Just a political witch hunt. A guy you appointing is politically witch hunting your own son. Yeah, that makes sense. When all else fails, blame Trump. That seems like to be the Democratic playbook, but hey, I digress. Let me know your thoughts about this. I know I've been talking, Kitty, three videos in a row? Yes, 3 videos in a row. Because this is how bad this pardon is. Like, when you got everybody criticizing this, from Nate Silver to Charlemagne, Republicans, Scott Jennings, everybody's criticizing this move. I bet you if you poll this move, hey, how do you feel about the pardon, the Hunter Biden pardon? Do you believe it was disingenuous? Do you believe it will negatively affect the Democratic Party? I believe at least 60 to 70% of Americans will agree, yes, it does. Because this is not a good look, right? When you act morally superior than the other party, people expect you to be moral throughout, regardless of the outcome of the election. And to me, this is how it's always easy to act good when things go your way. It's harder to act good when things don't go your way. And Democrats have shown themselves to be the party that only acts good when it's convenient for them to act good. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.